Hey, it's Norm from Tested. I'm here at Comic-Con 2015 at the Anovos booth. Now this is Joe and Dana, the guys who run Anovos, and you guys have made some pretty fantastic costumes, replicas from Star Trek and Star Wars. You have a lot of Star Wars stuff out now.
Yes, we do, and we're pretty proud of it, especially for this Comic-Con. We wanted to show people that it's not just about The Force Awakens, we got to give some love to Star Wars classics.
Original trilogy, and we have this lineup of helmets in front of us. Can we walk through these helmets, you know, the design process, what the helmets are and what you're going to get?
So the first thing that I like to point out here is the Y-Wing. We got very lucky and blessed by the lovely ladies over at the archives who've allowed us to scan an actual screen-used Y-Wing from Return of the Jedi. So when we 3D scanned this, we were able to then 3D print it and have our guys finish it. Now the really amazing thing about this Y-Wing is we wanted to take it to the next level. Not only is it just a great looking helmet, but like I said, we're a costuming company. We want you to feel like you get the full experience. So if you can zoom in there, you'll see we've actually included foam interior to make it look like a real fighter's helmet.
So you got the Y-Wing, obviously Boba Fett and Vader next. Yes. People made tons of replicas of those, and for your purposes, for costuming, it has to be comfortable, lightweight, breathable, and accurate. Absolutely. And that's something you guys have achieved with all these helmets.
And the really amazing thing with the Boba Fett, including the Darth Vader, is that we've been given a level of access to the original props, such as the Boba Fett, to actually do what we did with the Y-Wing, which is to scan it and 3D print it and bring it to the world a lot quicker than a lot of the conventional ways of making props that we've seen in the past. So that's why we're able to take the Boba Fett, go from a 3D scan all the way to print and finish in less than 3 months, which is something very different as far as technology and using it to the advantage for Anovos.
What type of material are these made out of?
This one here is fiberglass, this one here is fiberglass as well, but of course when it's printed, it's done in that printed material, that resin material.
Dana, can you talk more about the Imperial helmets here?
Yeah, so we have the Darth Vader helmet here. It's inspired mostly from The Empire Strikes Back. We kind of wanted to go for that look. I think everybody loves that iconic, more of a glossy look. The A New Hope helmet is a little bit different, so we wanted to go with this helmet, this style of it. So that's where the influence of this helmet comes from. Then we have the Imperial Fleet helmet. And what's great about this is that we were able to, if you look at the original prop, the assembly is a little bit off on every one. So we wanted to get a better symmetry to everything, make it look like it's just brand spanking new. You know, line everything correctly. We 3D scanned it, made some engineering aspects to it so we can make it so it fit better, and basically a one-to-one perfect representation of it. And then next we have the Death Star Gunner.
Yeah.
Which it looks just great. It's just a nice helmet, and we're going to have some lights that are going to blink off to the side on there, and that also was scanned from the original prop from the archives also.
Now, you guys mentioned brand spanking new. These come, as issued, basically, and a lot of the fans who buy these costumes maybe want to weather them or make them look used, a little more grimy than the as-issued helmet. That's something you guys are really enabling with the kits you guys are doing. At Star Wars Celebration, you had that full white Stormtrooper kit, amazing price, like $350 for a completed helmet, and there's something new you guys are having at Comic-Con.
Right, and we were excited. We were absolutely excited at the results of that, and the wonderful thing about the kits was that idea started with what else can we do with the molds that we've already created for the final piece? And we thought, well, this is a building community, let's just throw it out there. Boy, the response on that was amazing. And so we thought to ourselves, people want to build things. So we've developed a full program of not just doing this with the Stormtrooper, but actually expanding it out with all the other kits as well. So these are not just, you will get the choice of a final piece, but if you're the builder or want a better price point, think that you can actually do this yourself, we welcome that. And so we're going to provide you a pricing category to get in there and buy kits of all these different helmets, as well as the accessories to put them together.
So basically your entire line, when working with licensors in the future, you want to build that in so you can still also sell something that maybe part of it's completed like a helmet, but the body armor, that's something that you can get right out of the mold and right out of the vacuum form, and then someone can customize it. Yeah. Now the kit you guys have here at Comic-Con that's going to be available for a couple of weeks is the Shadowtrooper. Can we take a look at that?
Absolutely.
So here it is. It's the Black Hole Stormtrooper Black version. It's beautiful. Mirrored lenses on them, and this is a prototype, near finished helmet. And the helmet that people get with the kits are going to be the completed ones.
Yeah, they're finished, just like the TKs. The Shadow helmet will be finished. The rest of the body will be a kit.
And then there's the great thing is that there's so many resources online, like 501st, for example, where people can go and visit those forums, they can use your kit as a template and then modify to reach up to those standards or find out where the parts fit and stuff like that. And the kits will come with instructions as well?
Absolutely, and we took it one step further. I know a lot of people walk around with these licensed Star Wars shirts and have the Millennium Falcon kind of graphed out. We've actually gone out and hired the team of Chris Reef and Chris Trevis to actually illustrate these instructions for you. So you guys are getting the best of the best, and these guys, have really renowned art and really renowned pieces that are very well known in our community.
It's the two Chris's of Star Wars. They run the Parts of Star Wars website. Everyone knows them. They do all the technical manuals, and it's great that you guys are working with them. There's a finished piece here, and when people get a kit, it's going to come out of the vacuum form. It's going to be material. I think your prototypes are PVC, and then but the final material may be ABS.
Possibly ABS. We're still going back and forth with it, but we are looking at multiple plastics. But really, what it comes down to is when you're building plastic at that level, that kind of volume, we get to dictate the consistency of UV protection, the thickness, and the sheen that comes off of this plastic. So we're still going back and forth with it, but right now, this one that you see here is represented in PVC.
It's something I think that tested fans out there are going to be really interested in checking out. I would love to maybe get a kit and we can see what it looks like out of the box and try.
People, I think that. Yeah, I think we could do that.
Well, that would be awesome. Yeah. We would love to get these kits and maybe build them and show you guys how to build these Stormtrooper kits. Thank you so much. It's great to see you guys at Comic-Con.
Good seeing you again, my man.
Thanks so much.
Always a pleasure.
Frank, we got the kits.
They're here.
Awesome. Novos got us early access to these Black Hole Stormtrooper, Shadowtrooper kits, and we were really curious to see what you're going to get when you buy a kit.
It's a lot of parts in these boxes.
A lot of parts. Let's just take it out of the box and take a look. So these clearly look like vacuum-formed pieces of armor. And you can already tell, like, oh, that's a thigh piece right there.
Yep, that's a thigh. This is a shin. This is a shoulder.
It's a lot of pieces that go into Stormtrooper armor. Oh my God, what is that?
I think that's the back, lower back.
Okay, okay.
Another.
Now, Frank.
Here's the front.
This looks.
No, that's the butt.
This looks daunting. Like, if I was to order this and get it out of the box, I wouldn't know exactly what to do with it. When you look at it, I mean, do you look at the material first?
Yeah, these are vacuum formed PVC. So it's like styrene or like any of the other plastics. PVC is a little bit different, but it's super durable. You could tell that these still have the plastic protection on there. So the finish is going to be really nice and shiny.
Got it.
You can see on the inside, there's indications of where you have to cut them.
The score line.
There's like there's a little score line on the inside there. You can kind of see it on the outside, but it's easier to go by the inside.
And so to clean this up,
yeah,
just like you would any other vacuum form kit, you need to cut along the score lines. What tools are we going to use to do that?
I got a bunch of tools over here. So I opened up this box the other day and I started messing around with one of the pieces. And I found the easiest way to cut this is to use an air reciprocating saw. It just goes in and out, and you can just take this and you kind of rough cut it really quick. And then after that, I took an air grinder. This is like an $8 or $18 grinder, super cheap, like a $3 bit. And this thing just buzzed through the plastic real nice and easy. Not too fast where it's just taking out chunks, but it just zipped through everything.
And then after cleaning that up, all good? Looks good?
Yeah, I pulled the plastic off and you could see how it's nice and shiny.
Wow.
So in about 15 minutes, I took this vacuum form buck and I cleaned up the piece.
Well, you have a couple dozen pieces here. Let's just spend the day cleaning this up and see how this looks.
How some of these pieces shape up.
All right, it's going to be a busy day of cleaning up the Stormtrooper kit, but stay with us.
This, I think, goes on the outside of the arm.
Okay, Frank, let's talk about the tools you're going to use.
Sure.
So this is pretty thick.
Yeah.
Pretty thick PVC. It might look like it's like a cheap Halloween costume, but no, it has some durability. So you're not going to be able to just X-Acto it. But you do have an X-Acto.
You can. A lot of times what you can do is, like if you're trying to do a straight line, like right there is about where that line goes. this ruler is a little bit flexible, so you could bend it on that line. And when I make the line, the first pass you do with the blade side of the knife, and then after that I use the back side, and that kind of scores it a little bit more. See, like 3 or 4 passes. And once you do that, and you pop it, and you do it all the way around, you can just bend this backwards and pop all that. So you can X-Acto these things.
But it's a labor-intensive process.
We can go faster with the saw.
All right.
Now I checked these things, the saw and the grinder, you can get at like Harbor Freight, and they're like, it's about $10 for this thing, and about $20 for this thing.
Not bad at all.
And if you're going to be cutting all these parts,
it's a worthwhile investment.
$30 isn't that much to like make the time go a lot faster.
Yeah. And that's air saw. You need a compressor.
Yeah.
We have a compressor set up here. Same compressor you could use for your airbrush.
Yeah.
That work?
Yeah. It needs to be high enough PSI. And then you need safety glasses, and we have dust masks.
All right.
So that as we're grinding, we're not breathing all this stuff in.
That's good.
So on these pieces, sometimes on the inside, it's a little tricky to find the little cut line.
Yeah, it's a guide that Anovos has already built in into that vacuum form.
And then like this piece, this is an inside of your armpit kind of.
Yep.
And so as you're kind of putting these things together, if you have big bulky arms, you want to give yourself like a little bit more room, because what you're going to do is you're going to end up joining these with a plastic strip like this. And so if you need more room, cut it a little bit longer so that the strip gives you a little bit more room.
So the guidelines, I mean, they're really just a guide.
Yeah.
And you know, if you take too much away, you can't add. It's more difficult to add back.
It's very difficult to add it back in. So you want to err on the side of giving a little bit more room, and then once you know what you're doing, you could really like kind of charge through it and plow.
All right. Do you want to give a demonstration of how we're going to cut through one of these pieces?
So I already kind of know where my cut lines are, but I want to cut with this a little bit wide. So I didn't cut this last line. This is the one that I scored with the X-Acto. So you just bend that and it'll pop off.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, the edges weren't cut far enough. So you could cut these with an X-Acto if you don't want to go buy some tools, but the time it takes to score all that and then scoring all the curves, it's like I rough trimmed the piece pretty quick. So the next thing we'll do is we could take the sander, and you have to kind of like hold it in a light, and you can kind of see where that line is. See that little that little edge right there? So that's where you want to grind up to. So as you're grinding, sometimes you need to angle the piece a certain way to be able to see it. Yeah.
Yep.
That plowed through this pretty quick.
Yeah, that bit, it's like butter.
And then I have a couple of files. Some have like curved sides and some have straight.
Yep.
You can just kind of go through and kind of even up some of the curves.
Okay.
Or use the straight one and kind of level out some of these things. A little bit of sandpaper, just to kind of take off rough edges. And I recommend keeping this plastic film on there until you're all the way done sanding, so that way you don't accidentally scratch it, because these things have a really nice finish. But you know, you could spend a little time filing those edges, but you got to remember that this edge is going to get covered with one of these plastic strips.
Yeah.
So don't spend forever straightening that line out.
It's more for comfort on it, like grading against your skin.
Yeah, but you know, make this curve real nice and smooth, make these inside parts smooth. But that's it. Like, we just plowed through this piece in what, 10 minutes maybe?
Not bad at all.
So a combination between X-Actos and air tools and whatever, like, we could probably make pretty short order of these kits.
Well, let's do that. I'm gonna get started on my set. It's not a race, Frank.
No.
But we'll get started on it.
Cool.
All right, Frank. This is both easier and more difficult than I thought it would be. Easy in that, you know, once you have the right tools, you can actually get
And once
these.
you get the hang of using the tool.
Yes, exactly.
Just finding that right angle on the air saw,
saw.
and same thing with the grinder. Like, you just gotta get into the flow. And I gotta imagine once you get through one or two pieces, it'll just become really easy. Yeah. I started rough cutting the front and the back, and by the time I got to my second piece, I'm pretty much cutting right on the line. So there's gonna be there's not gonna be a lot of dremeling, but I'm starting to get a lot more comfortable with finding that line and hitting it straight. So as you go, you're gonna get faster.
And then, because these are test pulls, you know, the kit isn't officially out yet. We're just getting a sense of how they're vacuum forming it, but also they're figuring out their instructions as well.
Yeah.
We're referring to the 501st website to see how these actually fit together.
Novos is going to have very detailed instructions, and it's going to be well written and well illustrated. But for now, yeah, we're using the 501st as a reference. There's tons of really good websites and YouTube and videos of 501st members putting theirs together and how they attach it different ways and what kind of glues that they use. These are PVC, so we're going to use PVC adhesive once we start putting them together, but a lot of the other ones are styrene, so they're using super glue. But it also gives you a lot of information for how the pieces go together, which one's left and right, because all of these pieces are a little bit different.
Yeah.
And then this piece that you started cutting, by following the cut lines, it left this return on there. But when we just checked the 501st site, there shouldn't be a return on the wrist. So, you know, these kits, if you put them together right, I suppose they would be 501st, you know, approved, but you have to build them according to how the 501st does it. And there's so much information there, whether it's the Stormtrooper from A New Hope or Return of the Jedi or Empire or any of those, like, they all have slight little differences, where the rivets are placed, where the grommets are, like how the things are strapped together. I mean, there's a lot of information out there and a lot of reference too. So,
and this is a good material template. It's foundation for start on. And that's a great thing I think about the kit, because you're getting something that you're actually going to have to learn what the processes are, what the differences are to put it together.
And you can get as crazy as you want with making it accurate. I think that because these are Shadowtroopers, having it as black plastic is a little bit tricky, finding that line. If you have the white ones, the regular Stormtroopers, it'll be easy to draw it with a pencil. One thing you can do on this, which I didn't even think of until you were halfway cutting yours, is you can put a piece of tape down, draw the line on the tape, and then use that as your cut reference. But again, I think a lot of the stuff is going to end up being in the instructions, and again, like, use the internet as your resource. There's so much good information out there.
Well, we're going to continue working on this project, and one of the things we want to do, not only build out some badass Stormtroopers, we're going to want to customize them to make them our own.
I think I want to do a mashup with mine.
A mashup? You mean like a different franchise, a Stormtrooper X something else?
Yes.
Cool. I think I'm gonna, you know, with your help, I'm going to try to do something a little more simpler. I like the idea of something like looking like Battle War. Like, you know, they look sleek and shiny and black, but
a little bit of weathering.
A little bit of weathering. I want to imagine that this Stormtrooper's seen some stuff.
Okay.
Seen some battles. So we're going to continue working on these Stormtrooper kits. Anovos, of course, is running that offer right now to get these kits, and you may see us at a future convention wearing our full outfits.
Maybe Dragon Con, maybe Kamikaze, maybe who knows.
That's right. We'll have a follow-up video showing all that detail another time. Until then, thank you, Anovos, for supplying us with these first look at the Shadowtrooper kits. Thank you, Frank.
This is going to be a ton of fun.
It's already a ton of fun. And thank you guys for watching. Until then, I'm Norm.
I'm Frank.
From Tested. We'll see you guys next time.